want you to stop what you're doing right now and think about this for a second. How much percentage of the day do you spend in fear or worry about money? I hope it's not a lot, and I know that it's probably some, because when I do polls of entrepreneurs, they say that up to 75% of the day they spend in fear or doubt, uncertainty, worry, stress about money making. I don't want this to be you, so that's what I want to talk about today. On this episode of Max Potential Money, we're talking about how fear kills your money-making momentum and what to do about it. So I'm going to give you 5 simple steps to work through your fears and shift your energy in a new direction so that you don't have to slow down your momentum because of fear. If it's your first time here, I'm Dr. Amanda Barrientos, the host of Max Potential Money. This is your place to come each and every week for tips, tools, and strategies to help you optimize your money-making potential. This is going to be things like marketing tips, money mindset tips, manifestation tips, ways that you can shift your energy, shift your mindset, and scale your business with more ease, joy, and fun. Because if you're like me, I know that you care a lot about what you do in your business and you really want it to be highly successful. And the outcome of a highly successful business is money magnetism. When you're really flowing in your business, you're going to learn to drop your fears. They're going to come up. Promise you, they'll keep coming up. I don't care what level of the money-making game you're in, you're going to have fears come up, because at every level, new fears will arise. The cool thing is that as you get better at the tools that I teach you, you will be able to overcome them more quickly so that they don't slow down your momentum. You might wake up in the morning and have a fear come up and you go, oh wait, I've got a strategy for this, so I don't have to stay stuck in this all day. And let's start here. What is fear? I think about fear as future expectations of awful results. So it's the future expectation of awful results. And let's break that down. It's in the future. It hasn't come up yet. It's totally in your mind. You're making it up. And this is usually based on something that's happened to you in the past. So you project from the past into the future thinking, oh, it's happened like this in the past, so it has to happen like this in the future. Or I'm so scared that it could happen. So a lot of what ifing goes on when you're in a state of fear and worry and stress and doubt. And so what happens is, I think of it as you praying for trouble to come your way, because you're basically using your powerful mind to, instead of project something awesome into the future that you could create and manifest, you are creating and manifesting something sad, something bad, something scary, something stressful, something to be afraid of. And so just remember, anytime you're in a state of fear, you're actually making up a story that you are expecting something bad to happen. And you're in part co-creating that because you're thinking about it over and over and over and habitually having this pattern of thought where you allow yourself to just let your brain run amok in a state of what ifing. Now, I'll say this has happened to me lots in my life, and a lot of the people that I've worked with and teach. And so you're not alone. Don't beat yourself up. Just know that it's something that you're creating it, because remember, your outer world is a reflection of your inner world. So if your inner world is filled with fear and stress and worry and doubt, you're creating an outer world reality of that, because that's your dominant thoughts. And so we want to really work with fear and go, okay, it's okay to have fears. It's very natural and automatic. It's actually a survival mechanism for us to be tracking our environment for negative things that could happen. Our brain is built in what's called the negativity bias. So we're looking around and we're going, oh, this could happen bad. This could happen bad. I've got to prep for it. And the interesting thing is, most fears in our mind are just survival mode response to us going, okay, I want to stay safe. I want to somewhat stay in my comfort zone because I know how to control that. And so when we step outside of our comfort zone, which happens a lot when we're building a business, because you're in such a steep learning curve a lot of the time, you're growing new parts of yourself. You're learning sales, you're learning marketing, you're learning what you're good at, you're learning what you like to do. You're learning how to, there's just so many different hats we wear as entrepreneurs. So there's a lot of room for fears to get triggered. So you got to remember, most of those are made up fears. We don't really need to live so intensely by the survival mechanism that our brain has built. So our brain wants to keep us safe at all costs. And in our history, we could look at, many, many generations ago, there were real serious threats to our livelihood and our life and staying alive all the time. We don't have those every day now, but our brain is still built in that direction. So what you need to know and remember is that you are in charge of training your brain in the direction of your success. So in order for you to get through this fear issue, you've got to just train your brain in a new direction. It's just a habit. So just remember, your brain is habitually set up to go toward fear. This protects you. This keeps you safe. This has kept you safe for generations. And now you don't need to live that way anymore. You can learn to manage and navigate through your fears more quickly and more easily so that you don't slow that momentum. So let's talk about the ways that you can take simple steps to start to identify your fears and work through them more quickly. So the first step, and this is going to sound kind of simplistic, and you'll notice how often you don't do it and why the fear just keeps going. I want you, number one, to name the fear. Okay, and when you name the fear, what that does is it helps your conscious brain go, oh, that's what I'm afraid of. So it brings to your conscious awareness what you've been unconsciously afraid of. Because usually what happens is when we have a fear, we make up a whole bunch of visual stories in our mind and see bad things happening. And so it's almost like a movie playing in our mind of a whole bunch of different events. And we never just slow down enough to take a minute to articulate the fear and go, what is the actual fear? Once you name it, you'll notice that a lot of times it'll pretty quickly start to shift. And I want you to go to dig deep. Like, okay, let's say you're launching a new course and your fear is, oh no, what if nobody buys the course? Okay, so you'd want to name that fear. Then you go, well, why would that matter? Oh, maybe I won't make any money. Maybe I'll look like a fool. I'm afraid that people will think I'm stupid. I'm afraid I'll be embarrassed. I'm afraid that all of this effort was for nothing. Okay, start writing them down and getting clear and going, what is the actual fear? And notice how often your brain goes to almost immediate panic in money-making endeavors, where your brain starts to, it goes on lockdown, right? We have the fight, flight, freeze response, and it just starts to freak out, and then everything gets clouded energetically with fear. And fear is a very low vibrational energy, so it's going to slow your momentum because you're hyper-focused consciously or unconsciously of that fear, which then blocks opportunities from coming your way because you're in a low frequency, low energy, you're emitting fear, you're emitting desperation, you're emitting neediness. So then the thing that you fear the most will come true because that's the vibrational frequency that you're at. So if you don't name it and start to shift it to consciousness so you can work with it, it's going to keep running the show. Remember, I've said this many times before, competing commitments, the term I came up with in terms of what's happening here. So your unconscious is battling your conscious. If you're unconscious, 95% of you is in fear, doubt, worry, and stress about money or whatever it is you're launching, let's say that program, and then only 5% of you is like, I really want it to be successful, then 95% is going to win. So you got to name it so you can claim it and start to shift it. Okay, so I want you to name the fear. So if you're afraid of something right now in your money-making adventures in your business, I want you to name it. What is the exact thing you can get the closest to and realize like, oh, that's actually what I'm afraid of. And it might be different than you think. Sometimes it's like, oh, I'm afraid I'm not going to make enough money. Well, what does that mean to you? If you didn't make enough money, then what are you afraid of? Oh, maybe I don't know how to feed my family. And then what are you afraid of? Oh, we're going to end up on the street. And then what are you afraid of? Oh, everyone will think I'm a horrible mother. I mean, these were ones that I had. So, it's like, oh my God. So it isn't even necessarily about, oh, I can't eat. It's like, oh, everyone's going to think I'm a bad mom. And that's a real shame-inducing thought, right? So you want to get to the core of that. Then for number 2, I want you to consider how you may be scared of the exact opposite thing happening. And this sounds interesting, and something I've noticed when I do this type of work with myself and people I work with is that the opposite is scarier than the thing you think you're afraid of. So let's say you go, oh, I'm afraid I'm not going to sell a lot of courses and I won't make enough money. Then the flip side of that fear, the opposite, would be, oh, I'm afraid I'm going to sell a lot of courses and be wildly successful. And then sit with that and journal about that and go, what would make me scared there? Because anytime you have a conscious fear, I mean, I know I'm helping you get to the conscious, but let's say your conscious fear, like, I'm afraid I'm not going to sell enough courses. That's the conscious fear. Then when you bring the unconscious, which is the opposite of it, it balances it out in your mind in a new way. And you see different perspectives and you realize that you've been operating from a state of fear from a lot of that unconscious layering, where you go, oh, actually, maybe I'm really afraid of success, so I'm self-sabotaging. Or you go, oh my God, if I sell a whole bunch of courses, what if I lose my time freedom? What if I sell so many that then I have problems? People do this all the time. I hear it. They'll go, oh my God, they haven't sold any courses yet, let's say. And then I start selling, they're afraid that they're going to start selling a whole bunch of courses. They won't know how to handle it. They don't have customer service in place. What if their course isn't any good? What if? And realistically, they thought, oh, I'm afraid courses aren't going to sell. But when they dig into it and they go, oh, I'm afraid a ton of courses are going to sell and I'm going to be really, really highly successful. Will I be able to handle the responsibility of that? That's actually what they're more afraid of. So just play with it so you can get to the root of the fear. And it might look something like what I'm talking about. It might not. I'm always helping you bring to your conscious awareness what is there so you can face it, own it, shift it. And because if you don't do that, you have no hope. You just let that fear run you unconsciously all day, all night. Your energy is just scattered. It's resistant. It's pushing away. It's not bringing you opportunities because you're not open to it. So I want you to start to shift these fears around money, and so that you can make more money in your business with more ease, joy, fun, flow, and intention, instead of being unconscious and thinking that your fears, allowing your fears to run your life, actually. Okay, so then I want you on number 3. This is going to sound a little interesting, and I want you to try it out. I want you to allow yourself to feel everything you feel about the fear and then turn it up. Meaning, I want you to really step into that fear and go, how do I feel in my body? What does it make me want? Maybe it makes me want to cry. Maybe it gives me a stomach ache. Maybe it makes me just feel scared and bad and weak and vulnerable and uncertain, and let yourself feel all those things, because I promise you, when you run away, when you try to run away from your feelings, they expand. So Carl Jung says, what we avoid persists and grows in size. Okay. And so this is the exact reason why law of attraction, people think it doesn't work, is because they think, well, I'm saying I want this, but what's really going on is they're avoiding a whole bunch of negative, stuck, stressed, scared, fear-based feelings, and that's what's dominating their energy. And so they attract that instead of the thing they say they want. So you got to lean into it. You got to allow it. You got to feel it. You got to let it take yourself over for a little bit and just go like, oh my God, it does feel scary to feel this way. It feels out of control and I feel vulnerable, and like sit in that and allow yourself to feel it so that you can then shift to the other side of it. Joseph Campbell says, the cave you fear to enter contains the treasure which you seek. The cave you fear to enter contains the treasure which you seek. And I really think about this when you're leaning into your fears and allowing yourself to feel them all and let them expand, you face it. And then at the end of it, you're like, oh, maybe I'm not that afraid of this. I can take action in a direction and let myself relax into this a little bit. Okay, I'll recap all of them at the end. So number 4, I want you to then write down at least 10 reframes. So a reframe looks like counter evidence. So I want you to name the fear, and then when you do a reframe, you're gonna say, where in my history has the exact opposite been true for me? So if you say, if the fear is, I'm not good at building a 6-figure business, where in your history do you have elements of actually being really good at building something? And so you're looking for a reframe. Or whatever the fear is, you're looking at, how have I been good at making money? How have I been good at building momentum? Where have I been responsible with my money? Whatever the fear is, right? You're going to look for counter evidence from your past, all the way from 0 to your current age today. Where can I look for counter evidence so that I can show my brain that it's not true, this story I'm making up about this current fear? And then I want you to, with those 10 reframes, you're looking for counter evidence, and you're also looking for ways that you could think about it differently. So it could be a mantra in the opposite direction. It could be looking to an inspirational quote, and you go, oh yeah, I can think that way. It's possible for me to create what I want. It's possible for me to let go of this fear. I am a person who enjoys learning new things and and releasing my fear so that I can step into my personal power. Whatever works for you, I want you to write down at least 10 reframes, okay? And then number 5, take one small step in the direction of shifting your energy to build momentum back in the money-making direction. What this means is, When we're in a fear state, often it's a self-sabotage state where we procrastinate and hesitate and avoid and don't want to move. I'd say for somebody in that mode, it's going to be that you're getting into a state of freeze. So some people, if you have fight, flight, freeze, fight could look like working really, really hard and burning yourself out from a fear-based perspective. So it might be you're building your business out of fear. And I would say in my past, this was huge. When I first year of my business, I was like, I got to make 6 figures. I got to make sure I make enough money to pay my bills. And my motivation in a lot of ways was fear-driven. I did it, and at the end of that year, I was real tired. And so I don't want you to be motivated by fear. Yes, it's a powerful force. Yes, it can create momentum and energy, and it's not sustainable for the long term. You want to be driven by inspiration and by strategy, right? So we want to build businesses where we're inspired to do what we're doing, where we're attracting through our energy and through the law of attraction, and where we're taking action in a strategic direction that we can be steady. And I really do like the thought, steady and slow wins the race. You're building this business for your lifetime. You're going to try to build it overnight. You want steady, growth-filled, fulfilling, a way where you feel joy and ease every day, not where you're like, oh my God, I gotta get there as fast as possible. I gotta get to the top of that mountain and I'm gonna freak out about it and I'm burning myself out and I'm worried all the time. We don't want that, okay? So that's fear. Instead, we want you to be inspired to take action, to make impact, to have the lifestyle you want through making money through your business over the long haul. So you really want to just take one small step in a new direction. So once you recognize the fear and you lean into it, allow yourself to feel the feelings and then go, okay, how can I shift some of the energy around this? How can I start to think about this differently? How can I look for counter evidence and then take a step in the direction? Don't sabotage and be in the freeze state where you hesitate. You instead go watch TV for hours or get on social media and not to create content, but to consume content. I want you to be proactive and just take one small step in the direction. So you're going to think, okay, what can I do right now that's going to be in the direction of my success related to this specific fear that I'm having? So I'll recap real quick. So remember, first, the definition of fear is future expectation of awful results. And just remember, you're making it up in your mind. It doesn't need to be there. And it's your job to train your brain in a new direction to let go of the habit of being in fear. And then the 5 steps you're going to take to start to shift your energy so that you don't kill your money-making momentum is, number 1, name the fear. Number 2, consider how you may be scared of the opposite happening. Number 3, allow yourself to feel it and even turn it up. Let yourself feel everything about that fear. Number 4, write down at least 10 reframes. So you're looking for counter evidence and ways you could think about this differently. And then on number 5, take one small step in the direction of shifting your energy so you can build your momentum back in the direction of money making. All right, make sure that if you're getting value out of this, you click on that bell below the video. It'll give you notifications when new releases come out. Click on the thumbs up, the like, so that it helps us reach more people through algorithms on YouTube. And subscribe to the channel, and of course share it with friends and leave a comment. Today in the comments, I want you to let me know what is a current fear that you're facing in your money-making adventures in your business. What's a current fear you're facing in your business and your money-making adventures? Let me know. I want to hear from you. And until next time, NFA, and high fives. Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Max Potential Money. If you're ready to break through to the next level of income, go to nfamoneymakerlab.com to join the private NFA Facebook group where you'll get weekly money mindset and practical manifestation tips, plus a free 30-day mini course called 30 Money Making Secrets. Again, that's nfamoneymakerlab.com. I look forward to seeing you there.